Hi guys, welcome back to We Should Talk, a pop culture interview series from In the Know. I'm your host, Gibson Johns, and today on the podcast we have three of the OGs from the Real Housewives of Potomac: Ashley Darby, Gizelle Bryant, and the Grand Dame herself, Karen Huger. I was just honored to get some time with these women. I mean, they're three out of the four OGs who have been around since the beginning of the show. I mean, they've broken a record by being on the show for so long, and we're going into season 7, which is unheard of to have 4 OGs left. And the trailer for the season looked amazing. The premiere of the season is great. I had to watch it, of course, before doing these interviews. And so to get time with 3 of them, I only had around 15 minutes with each, so I decided to put them all into one episode. You can skip around if you want to only listen to certain interviews, but you know, they tell it like it is. There's a lot of reading between the lines when you're previewing a season, but there's a lot there, and I loved chatting with all 3 of them. So first up is my interview with Ashley Darby, so keep listening for that. Tune in to the Real Housewives of Potomac season 7 premiere on Sunday, October 9th at 8 p.m. on Bravo. And if you enjoy these interviews, please give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. It's greatly appreciated and very helpful. So yeah, keep listening for my interviews with Ashley Darby, Gizelle Bryant, and Karen Huger. All right, so we're here with Ashley Darby from the Real Housewives of Potomac, which means that we have another season coming at us, finally. Ashley, how are you?
Oh, Gibson, I'm so good. And you know what's even better is I've gotten to talk to you like every year. This is just, it's one of the perks of being on the show.
You're making me blush, but I think this is at least 7 or 8 times that we've done interviews probably. And we were just talking, we did a thing at BravoCon. So I feel like we go way back, and I just love hanging with you.
Me too. We do.
So before we get started, I need to show you what I'm wearing on my shirt right now, which is a shirt that my brother got me for Christmas. I think it's backwards on the Zoom, but it has the whole cast from like a couple seasons ago listed out because, you know, you guys are the queen. So I had to wear this for the occasion.
Oh my gosh, what a thoughtful present too. That's so good.
He knows what I like.
Yeah.
So Ashley, obviously this season is really big for you from a personal perspective. You know, it's when you and Michael are separating, and I'm wondering for you, like, just generally, what was it like filming that this season? And also, do you feel prepared for that to all re-air for everyone to watch?
Well, you know, it's interesting because I feel like my life goes through so many major moments, and they seem to happen while I'm on the show, whether it's the birth of my children or I find out I'm pregnant or something like that. So, when we start filming the show, it corresponds with so many big moments in my life. And that is one where I did contemplate how much I would be comfortable sharing, because it's just such a vulnerable time for me. But I realized that it's therapeutic to share about my journey. And, you know, I get quite a bit of support from my friends, from the ladies in the group. So it's been an interesting time for me.
Yeah, I'm sure. And I mean, the season kicks off in the best possible way, which is with an OG picnic under the cherry blossoms. And it's one of those moments, Ashley, where it's like, I knew that I missed watching you guys on TV, but like the dynamic that you 4 have specifically is just, you can't manufacture that. That is just it just reminds you again, like why we missed you guys so much. And did it feel like that was the right way to kind of kick things off? Because you guys give each other shit, you check each other on it. It works.
It's so good. And, you know, we had seen each other, I think around Christmas time. So it was still a little bit like some time had passed, but it wasn't that long. So we still had some time to like pick up and find out what each other had been doing for the last few months. So that was actually one of the most fun times that we've had together. But I will say, when we did have our lunch a few months ago, it was such a turn-up time that it really made us all reflect on how much we've grown since we met each other all those years ago. Well, I was new to the group, but the rest of the ladies have known each other for a while. So yeah, it was a nice moment to even reflect on that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm sure. And I think what seems great about this group is like, yeah, like you'll have your little fights and you'll have your season-long feuds or whatever, but ultimately you're there for each other, it seems, especially in these moments like you're going through this season. And so it's nice to feel that at the end of the day, like you have that net of amazing women there for you.
Yeah, no, don't get me wrong. They could be shady as a mug, but
of course,
still very loving. You know, I think the one who can be the shadiest and still the most loving at the same time is Robin. Will shade you to goodness knows where, but still somehow make you feel like, dang, I'm good. Like, you know, almost like a Sour Patch Kid. She's very good at that. And I think it's because she's in a house full of men, but she's just mastered the art of like a slap and tickle, you know, it's amazing.
Not a Sour Patch Kid. That's good.
She's sour, but then she's also super sweet. It's like, Robin.
I like it. All right. So Ashley, when you first confirmed that you and Michael had separated back in April, you know, there was a really loud reaction online, I would say. And I think that like a lot of it was celebrating you for, you know, the perception is that you're kind of taking back your freedom. You've been put through a lot. You know, people were it felt like everyone was Team Ashley in your corner cheering you on. But I'm wondering for you, like what it was like that day and that week, because obviously you're feeling so much love, like from so many people who aren't part of your inner personal circle, but also you're feeling all this love on the back of news that like your relationship is not working out. So that must have been an interesting place to be mentally.
100%. I mean, there's just so much. Divorce in itself is already so complex. It's a roller coaster of emotion. And while I did really appreciate how many people were supporting me, ultimately it was still a really emotional time for me. And, you know, it's like, I don't want to be like, thanks, girl. But at the same time, I am really thankful that I have people who, especially those who have been in similar situations, who can understand where I'm going through, who can offer words of encouragement. It's really appreciated. So yeah, it was definitely, it's a conflicting time for me altogether. And that just was further a part of how hard this is.
Mm-hmm. And in the premiere, you say that the things that led to the split were pretty gradual. Like it kind of happened over time. Was there a moment that broke the camel's back? Was there a moment that you were like, all right, this has to go, we have to go through with this?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely do share that in the season, that there definitely were things, and because our relationship has been so public, I think fans and people who watch the show can understand how some things have contributed. And ultimately, I've just gone through a metamorphosis myself since I've had my kids, and I'm a different person. So that is something that I share about how I'm just a different me. I'm not the same person that Michael married, you know, almost 9 years ago now. So
mm-hmm.
That's contributed a lot to where we are.
Mm-hmm. And, you know, a big topic that's teased in the trailer and we talk about in the premiere is that the unexpected development that you guys are potentially buying a house together under your joint LLC. It's met with skepticism from your family, from Gizelle, from Karen. I'm sure you expected to hear that pushback and that skepticism. And you must understand, I mean, I'm assuming you understand why they're skeptical of that.
Oh, for sure. I mean, Michael is a real estate developer. So the ins and outs of real estate that Michael knows are far more than what Gizelle knows, Karen knows, even my family knows. So I don't expect them to all of a sudden just be like, okay, I get it.
Right.
It's much more. And that's what I have to tell them that. Y'all don't understand. I barely understand. So like, let's just let it be.
Uncle Lumps is letting his voice be heard in this situation as per usual. I mean, what an icon.
Not hold his tongue back in any capacity. He does not mince words. I mean, he definitely, and I know he comes from a good place, but yeah, boy, howdy. It's like that old school, you know, where they just like say everything that's on their mind.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And in that premiere, Gizelle and Karen they basically, you know, they're putting out the question of like, is Ashley lying about being separated just to get what she wants or whatever? What's your reaction to that? I'm sure we'll see in the season, but.
Well, to be fair, Michael and I did separate before. I was separated in 2017. We were separated for 6 months, and just before we filed for divorce, I decided to try to make it work. So I understand some of the skepticism from my friends. If I've done it before, potentially it could happen again. We could reconcile again. So, I mean, honestly, I don't really owe anyone an explanation. And ultimately, if they're my friends, they'll support me and be there for me. And if they want to continue to be skeptical, well, that's their prerogative.
Mm-hmm. Nope. I think, Ashley, one thing that I really admire about you from over the years is just that regardless of any noise that's happening outside about your relationship or something in your life or skepticism people have, like ultimately you do what you want to do. And I feel like we've seen that time and time again. And I just sticking to your guns like that, I just admire it, because it can't be easy hearing all the naysayers about certain things, but when you know in your heart what's right for you, then that's what then you know it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, babe, you're right. And it's not easy, but it's one of the things that I've learned to master, just even since I was in Miss DC, when I was competing for Miss America. I mean, you had so many people saying the meanest things about these young women competing for Miss America. So that was my first introduction to the outside noise. So I feel like I've mastered it, you know, just focusing on my own agenda, what I want, because it's my life, you know.
Completely. And,
Yeah.
you know, on the flip side of all of this, I mean, one, I don't think you've ever looked better. I think you're emitting this glow and this confidence and this just carefree attitude this year that if you pay attention to your TikTok or Instagram, like it's impossible not to notice that. Are we going to get a single and ready to mingle Ashley this season, or is that a little too soon for that?
Baby steps, Gibson.
Okay.
You just throw me out there. I'm not quite ready yet.
Okay, I figured.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm going through a personal metamorphosis, and being able to express myself with dance, and I have a great hair and makeup team that are helping me find my confidence again. Those little things are just really contributing to me, like finding myself again. Like my little self-care, which is so important. I underestimated it, but boy, howdy, is it important.
I mean, actually, some of those looks on Instagram are unreal. Like the one in the silver dress. I'm living for it. And I hope, I'm glad that you're feeling like it's getting you kind of to that next stage of this process.
Thank you. And I don't even do that. My hair and makeup team, they're like, here, sit down. Well, there's this hair, this outfit. And then I just show up and pose and look pretty, Gibson. I'm very lucky.
Hey, you make it look easy, I would say. So I had Wendy on recently to promote her book, which I loved. And I asked her about just a couple of things from the trailer because it had just come out. And one of the moments that a lot of people latched onto from that trailer was a moment between you and Candace, where it seems like you have a moment of bonding and you're laughing together at one of your houses. And I think a lot of people read into that thinking that could be kind of a preview of what's to come for a potential Candace Ashley, in real friendship. Is that a red herring? Like, what can you tell me about what's to come for you two together?
Well, to be fair, Candace and I, at the reunion last year, we talked about how we had a fun night at Fashion Week after Telfar's show, and how that was a really pivotal moment in us having some semblance of a friendship. So, and I learned a lot about her. I learned a lot about her that night, and I feel like I've learned a lot about her over these last few months. So I definitely don't think that I don't think it's out of left field now myself.
Okay.
A lot of other people say, but as I said, we talked about how we hung out until like 6 a.m. after Fashion Week. So we were sitting in the streets.
I mean, I think on paper, there's so much that you guys can bond over, and it makes sense. Over the years, it's just been hard to get you to really, figure it out. But it sounds like you've had that moment of breakthrough.
Yeah, I mean, we have very different personalities and we just approach situations differently. And that's what ultimately contributes to us having some friction. So
yeah.
I don't know, Gibson.
Yeah. Well, Ashley, I think we're running out of time, but I do want to just hear from you. Like, it was an amazing trailer. Season 7 is clearly going to be another one for the books. But just give me just a general tease for this season, because there's a lot going on.
I have to tell you, Gibson, that I didn't even expect. No one could have even predicted or anticipated the turn of events that happened over this season. And even now myself, when I think back to things that happened, I literally, like, I have to I'm like, what? Like, my jaw drops. And this is coming from me, who has been a part of this group since the beginning. This season was one with so many curves.
So it's not one big curve. It's like multiple curves that we take.
100%. Like just as you think, just as everyone feels like, oh, like we're calming down, everything is good, there's just always something. And I think that was what is great about our group, is none of us lead boring lives, and there's always something going on. So continues to deliver, I think.
Listen, we've been along for this ride for a long time now, Ashley. I'm strapped in for life, so I'm just happy to have you guys back. I'm happy to get some time with you, and I hope to see you at BravoCon.
Yes, I'll see you at BravoCon.
Yes, Ashley, it's always a pleasure. Thanks so much.
Bye.
All right, now it's time for my interview with Gizelle Bryant. Enjoy. All right, so we're here with Gizelle Bryant from Real Housewives of Potomac, an OG. And now that we have another interview happening, that means that Potomac is back, finally, my favorite franchise. Gizelle, rocking the Reasonably Shady sweatshirt. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. I am super happy. This season is amazing.
It seems that way. I mean, the trailer alone, like it, I got the chills. I mean, like we've been waiting for this day. So do you feel good about this season?
I do. I feel like everybody kind of like stepped up, on their on their stuff, kind of. But people were willing to talk about, if they were approached, they were willing to talk about whatever it is that they were approached about.
And Gizelle, one thing about you that I appreciate and love and keeps this show going is that you will approach people about things. And I feel like that, and I love that about you. Do you feel that is like part of your duty and role on this show?
Not a duty or role. I just kind of feel like that's just who I am naturally. Yeah. So it just plays into the show. I feel like, if there's something going on, a lot of people want to know, and I'm going to ask the questions that everybody wants to know anyway. So, not it, but at this point, these ladies know that's just how I am.
Absolutely. We know that too, Gizelle. And so for you personally this season, I've watched the premiere and we see that you have finished the house, which looks gorgeous, by the way. I really do love it. And that entryway alone is just top notch. You're dealing kind of a lot with the idea of one of your daughters going to college and kind of not having your daughters all around you, like they're growing up, and that's something that we see you almost get emotional about in one of your first confessionals this season. Where are you at mentally now when it comes to that idea? Because it's hard to, I can't even imagine.
I'm still not good with it. I'm
okay.
not, my girls, you guys have seen my girls grow up and see just kind of like a glimpse about our relationship. We're so super close. The four of us have like do everything together. We travel the world together. Those are like my girls. And I have so many girlfriends that their kids are going to college and they're excited about it. I am not. I just feel like, yes, it's great for them. They need to, grow their wings and fly, but I'm just going to miss them. It's just going to be a whole nother chapter for me. And I don't know what.
And then kind of, there's a lot going on this season with the ladies. I mean, I think obviously it's no secret that kind of the biggest, I think, point of intrigue this season is seeing really how all the Ashley Darby marriage stuff, the separation, all that happens. And I'm wondering what your reaction as a good friend of hers, as a co-star of hers, to when that news came out that she had separated from Michael and she confirmed it. There was a big reaction online, mostly kind of celebrating that fact. And I'm wondering, like, what did you make of all that, watching that go down?
She talked to me about it before actually we started filming. And then we started filming, and then it kind of leaked that she was going through this divorce. And the world was like, yes. And I pulled her to the side and I was like, Ashley, it's a little weird. Like, this is the man that you love, that you have, 2 children with. I mean, yes, you're mad at him right now and y'all are getting a divorce, but the world is trashing him and the world is praising you and excited for you. Like, how does that make you feel? I can't remember whether I asked her that on camera or off, but I remember her being like, it's nice to feel the love from the people, but it's weird. You know what I mean? It's a weird feeling.
And then, and in this first kickoff from your episode, we find out that she's potentially buying a house with Michael despite being separated. And you and Karen kind of like immediately question that. And you're sort of like, is she, I mean, you guys say like, is she lying about the separation just to sort of get what she wants and whatever? And I know that you guys are friends with her, so that's coming from like kind of a place of genuine concern. But I'm wondering, like, how are we going to see your, again, as her friend, your mentality around her separation and potential impending divorce change as the season goes on?
You will see that I get to a place where I'm very vocal in the beginning about like how she's going about it. Like, she doesn't have an attorney. She's buying a house with him. This is making no sense. No one ever does this. And then I get to a place where I'm like, you know what? This is not about me. This is not about my life and what I would do. It's about Ashley, and I just have to support her. So it don't make no sense, but I'm here to support the nonsense.
Does it make more sense to you now?
Yes, kind of.
Okay. So maybe will make more sense to us as viewers as well.
Yeah. Oh, no. Y'all are going to understand the ride. No question. So throughout the season, you will understand the Ashley roller coaster.
Mm-hmm. The other kind of seems like big kind of thing that's taking center stage this season is something with Candace and Chris, where he sends a DM. You feel like he maybe, was flirting with you at some point. That's what the trailer's all kind of teasing this. What can we expect from that? Because I mean, we literally hear Candace say Gizelle is dead to me, which is that's not a light comment.
No, it's not. And she needs to stop wishing death on me, okay? Because I'm over here alive and kicking. I did not expect the reaction that I got from Candace about just talking to her about an uncomfortable position that I felt like I was in as it relates to her husband. Acted in a way that was very weird to me, kind of shocking. I didn't expect it. But you will see kind of that play out. But I have been very firm and very honest about what happened. Gizelle kind of adds a little something to it. I didn't add nothing, Gibson. Okay.
Okay. I've okay. That that's a good clarification, honestly. And then Gizelle, the Peter Thomas of it all, there's a throwaway comment. He longtime Bravo viewers know exactly who Peter Thomas is, and somebody asked you if you guys are romantic together. What can you tell me now about what we can expect from Peter's role in Potomac this season? Okay,
first of all, it wasn't a throwaway comment. It was like a direct question.
It was a direct question. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah. I had a direct answer, which is there's nothing going on between me and Peter. That was put out there by one of the ladies. And Peter is around. We see from the first episode, you've seen the first episode, you see why he's around.
Yeah.
I'm not mad at it. I mean, I've known Peter for years. I love Peter. But am I dating him? No. Have I ever dated him? No. Am I going to date him? No.
We're putting that to rest right now before we even get to it.
Yes.
And I had Wendy on recently for her book, and she talked a lot about her book, but we talked about little bits of the trailer. And there's a part of the trailer where it's you guys greeting each other in that first party that Karen throws. And she comes up to you and says hi, and you're like, no touching. Like, basically, we're not there yet. I don't know if you'll ever be there. And she said that's kind of just like a good encapsulation of like your dynamic as co-stars potentially. Like that's sort of like your relationship. How would you agree with that? Like, what is your relationship with Wendy like these days?
We don't have one at all. What you see in that first episode is it. You ain't gonna see nothing else between me and Wendy. If I remember correctly, yeah, I'm done. I didn't say much to her all season because there was nothing really to say. Wendy is not someone that can own the things that she has done and try to get to a better place with people. She's not that person.
And so you don't even see kind of a potential future for a friendship with Wendy.
No. Mm-mm. And I've seen, and throughout the season, you'll see how she treats other people that I do love. And I don't want to be friends with that person. I don't want to be friends. If that's how you react and relate to people, no, thank you. It's just like when you tried to hug me. No, thank you.
Right. It's so interesting, Gizelle, because it's like something that something that I love about Potomac is that like the dynamics do shift all the time. And I feel like you are mostly open to that. You know what I mean? Like you might have a season and a half where you and Karen like are really going at it, but then you'll be friends again. Right. And it's interesting that your relationship with Wendy, you really feel like there really is no true path forward. It's just interesting in comparison to other relationships on the show.
100%. And I can even say, you know, people that have left the show, that I didn't necessarily care for, we still were able to come to a good place. But, you know, you can't do that with somebody that is not authentic, I think.
Okay. And then another person who's back in the fray is Charisse, and she's an OG of the show. And I think a lot of fans were excited to see her. I think she's kind of been in and out over the years, but it seems like she's kind of back in a more substantial way this time. And I guess I don't remember like why her and Karen might not be great with one another, but clearly that's going to happen this season. There's a beef there. Why is that? Why are Karen and Charisse not?
Gibson, we spent the whole season trying to figure out what is the beef, but we get to the bottom of it, kinda.
Okay.
And in true Karen fashion, it made no sense. Okay. But I was just loving the fact Charisse was around. You know, Charisse is everywhere throughout the season. You know, Charisse is somebody that I do hang out with when the cameras are gone. And, you know, she is a real friend. So I was just happy to have her around.
So do you hang out?
And she was pissing Karen off, which I love.
I know that you love to see that. I know you do. Do you hang out in the champagne room with Charisse?
Well, she moved. So
I feel like I knew that. Yeah.
Yeah.
R.I.P. the champagne room. That was iconic.
Right.
Well, I mean, Gizelle, obviously you are a core of this show of Potomac, and we're on seven seasons now. But you also, it's been so cool to watch you also grow beyond the show. I mean, Reasonably Shady, we see you're wearing a sweatshirt right now. Like, you and Robin have created this really beloved podcast. It's been recognized for different, like, it's been nominated for things. You've had live events that have been really popular. Like, you guys you have found something that's working. And I'm wondering if you can speak to that and just, I don't know, I feel you must feel like you have a lot of momentum behind it.
Oh, 100%. I just got the phone, off my call with Black Effect, who, you know, Reasonably Shady is on that platform.
Yeah.
We're happy with us. They just told us our numbers. We just passed 3.6 million downloads, which
Congratulations.
Is mind-blowing. We're getting ready to go on the road with the show. I just feel like the reason why it's been so successful is because it's authentic and true to who Robin and I really are. And our friendship. And we just love talking and hanging out with each other. So I'm just happy that people love to hear what we have to say. You know what I mean? That's nice to know. And as long as we're continuing to have fun with it, we're going to keep doing it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you should. I mean, clearly, like, you're going up right now, you know, with that show. And I think that's, do you also feel like it provides you with just like another outlet to explain things? Because I mean, we love the show, whatever, but I feel like a lot of times when a housewife does have a podcast or a YouTube show or just like another way to speak to people, you get more clarity out there.
Well, yeah. Now, we don't talk about Potomac at all because we have been, you know, threatened.
Okay. No. Okay.
For our
but still, in terms of connecting with people.
Yes. But even like for Robin, I feel like Robin doesn't get to really show her true personality on Potomac for whatever reason. And Robin is like amazing. She's funny. She's smart. She's sometimes shadier than I am, if you could believe that. And so it gives obviously us a platform for us to just talk our stuff. But it's also, you're able to see Robin in another light, which is she's like a boss. And I think that's really what people like. We get feedback, and that's what people say all the time. They're like, "Oh my gosh, Robin, you're like amazing. We don't ever get to see this on the show." I'm like, "Yeah, because you're only seeing 42 minutes, and we got to share that with like 5 other, like, you know what I mean? It's just too much."
I mean, and Gizelle, speaking of Robin, I'm like, my heart honestly goes out to her because she's never gonna fully escape the like, when are they getting married? When are they getting married? When are they getting married? But Gizelle, when are they getting married?
Well, Gibson, if I told you that, then Andy Cohen might come down here and stab me in the neck. But I'm going to say we will find out one way or another.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And
Yeah.
my final question, I know we're running out of time, but Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip 3, it looked, I mean, just with that group, it's going to be, it's going to be a moment. Give me a quick tease for it and sort of maybe an unexpected connection you made on that show.
Okay. Hands down, best Bravo trip I've ever taken. Hands down. Number one.
I love that.
Number two, I was with my girl Portia, so we were just kikiing the whole time. I love Miami. I love Alexia and Marisol. They're one person, and we call that person Miami. So they're amazing, and it is good, like really, really good. It's funny, it's shady, it's drama, it's good.
I trust your judgment, Gizelle. You know good from bad, and you've been a part of such great TV over the years, and I can't wait for season 7. And just thanks for being so generous with your time always. I love talking to you.
Oh, thank you, Gibson. Have a great day.
Yeah, you too. All right, bye, Gizelle. And finally, my interview with the Grand Dame herself, Karen Huger. All right, so we are here with Karen Huger from the Real Housewives of Potomac, the Grand Dame herself. Karen, how are you?
I am fantastic. How are you, darling?
I am great. I am, I've talked to Ashley and Gizelle so far, and I just told them, like, doing these interviews again with you all, it just makes me so happy that you are going to be back on our TVs every week. I couldn't be happier.
Oh my God. I'm so excited to be back. I'm going to chime in with you. The pandemic, really? I'm so excited to be out and free and doing what it is I love, work, sharing my life with you guys. So thank you for having me.
And Karen, we did get to see a little bit of you between seasons. You had a spin-off, which I loved. I loved to learn more about your family and kind of get more airtime with some of your family members. What was that experience?
A personal invitation.
Oh, how was that experience like for you to have that spin-off for you for 3 episodes?
Well, it was everything. It took Mama Bird to another level for me because these are my cousins and they're my next generation. But I'll tell you, those kids surprised me. And I can't wait to share with you what they came up with for the succession plan. It's going to blow you all away. They're some sharp cookies, but they're funny as hell. Assistant, producer of the show was a huge learning curve for me. But I welcomed it, and I'm richer for it, and looking forward to doing it again. These kids have a story, and it doesn't stop there. That's just the beginning.
I love that. Producer Karen, I love that. That's always adding new titles to your resume. I think that's an amazing outlook, right? Exactly.
Right.
And we also got a lot more time with Raven in that show, and I'm curious, like, does that mean that she's sort of warming up to the cameras a little bit more in your eyes, or what's sort of her mentality around filming?
Raven grew up with you all. She grew up in front of the cameras. You caught her right at prom time? I think. So this young woman is, and I don't say it because she's my daughter, she's the total package. And I'm extremely comfortable on camera, but Raven's a beast. She's the whole thing. And I had to look at her like, oh my God, what are you coming for me now? But I'm so excited because those are my genes. I'm very proud of her. She has her own career. But Miss Raven's not done yet.
I wouldn't expect her to be done. So season 7 of Potomac kicks off with you and Gizelle, of all people, walking together to set up an OG picnic, which I said this to them, like the best way to start the season with the OGs together. I mean, you and Gizelle walking together, having a moment. Sometimes, I mean, there was a point there where I kind of thought that we would never see the day where you guys are. What do we have to expect from Gizelle and Karen this year?
You can expect what you've been getting. Gizelle and I are authentically, we really like each other. You know that, right? I can speak for myself, but we have our moments, and we are not going to fake the funk. When we're good, we're good. When we're scrapping, we're scrapping. But that is what makes Gizzy and Karen work. I think we're one of the best frenemies in the Bravo chain of housewives, because and it's because we're real. And we don't pull any punches, maybe we pull all the punches. Hello.
I think that's it. No, and I totally agree. I think that's it's one of my favorite dynamics on Bravo for the past, forever. I think there's something just really, it's a dynamic that you can't create. It is what it is. And
it is.
I do think that you both are truth tellers to each other. And I think that's ultimately why it works. You're not putting on airs. It's just,
we're real. Yeah. We're very real. And right now we're in a good position, but I'll tell you, I'm sitting already. I had that wind blow and she flips that head. I'm going to be flipping right along with her.
All right. I'm ready. I know that the Potomac viewers are ready. Karen, there's somebody around this season who it seems like you aren't in a great place with. Miss Charisse is back in the fold. It seems like you two have some sort of beef. I'm not really sure exactly where it stems from. Can you explain actually say this. Did you have beef with her before you started filming this season, or did something happen this season that leads you to not be on good terms with her?
I know you're going to hate this answer, but I was so excited to be out with friends and just being out of the pandemic. And I'd say for what you're asking me about, I'm going to put it in the viewers' hands. They need to watch, stay tuned. And who are you talking about anyway?
I think that answers my question. Karen.
Amen, Jesus.
I think that is, I'm reading between the lines, and
it is, when people show you who they are, you believe them. And even if it disappoints you, you have to believe them and just move on. And I'm in a great place. And I'm so happy to share with the viewers, my family, Raven, Ray, business, and all of the women. Have you seen Jacqueline? The new friend of the show?
I've seen her in the trailer. I have not had time with her. I'm not sure what to expect. What can we expect from her?
Yeah. Let me give her a little shine. She's smart. She's beautiful. She's very loyal to Mia, but she's TV candy. And I love it. I'm like, yes, girl, bring on the new friend. Woo!
Yeah, I think the one thing that I love about Potomac is obviously the OGs who have been around since the beginning and breaking records, but also like there is always at least one new face in the fold that can kind of mix it up. And so I'm glad that you approve of the new addition.
I do. I like her.
Okay, good.
A lot. Yeah.
Do you and Mia continue on good terms this year?
I would like to think, I always thought we were. Yeah, I'll just tease there.
Okay.
But as with any of the girls in the group, if you flip, I'm going to flip with you and handle it accordingly. So always wishing Mia the best, and y'all got to stay tuned and watch that, and y'all let me know what you think.
Okay. And then Karen, obviously I think one of the biggest points of interest going into this season is Ashley and Michael and the separation that we kick off the season with that news. And obviously the whole world knew that announcement when Ashley confirmed it in the spring. In this first episode, we learned that she's potentially going to buy a house with Michael despite the separation. And you and Gizelle don't waste any time sort of being like, what's going on here? Like really, what's the real story? How are we going to see your personal kind of opinion on what's going on with Ashley change as the season goes on?
Well, first of all, Ashley and I spoke privately before filming ever happened. So I knew about it, that the divorce was a potential. I just want Ashley to be happy. You'll see me supporting her, whether she decides to dissolve her marriage or stay with Michael. I just want her to be happy, because when you're happy, you give the best to your children. And everybody knows I am, a huge advocate for family. I love my family. I just want Ashley to be happy. You will see me supporting Ashley. And that's what a friend should do. Ashley and I have evolved. But I will tell you, my son and Ashley are the same age. So I'm very protective of her when it comes to this, because I have been through a divorce and I know what it takes, and it hurts. And if there's any way to fix it and she is happier in it, I'll be there for her. But if she wants to leave, I'm there for her then. So I'm going to ride for Ashley on this, not Michael.
And I think that's probably the way it should be. But I'm wondering for you, like when you see when the news came out in April and you see kind of all the reaction, particularly like on Bravo social media circles, what did you make of that reaction to the news?
I pray for Ashley, actually, because I've been in a situation where I was, I'm always all the news. Hello.
Making headlines. Come on, you're around.
Yeah, and I just pray that she would be tough enough, put on her armor, because she's got two kids, two small ones, and I just want her to win. So my prayers are with Ashley, and support is with Ashley and her children.
There's a moment in the trailer, Karen, that I'm sure it's not something that is fun to address in the season for you and now, where Candace says, I want to get the quote, that Karen was sneaking out of town with somebody that wasn't Ray.
Yeah.
I mean, watching that, and obviously that's gonna be part of this season. What is that? What is she insinuating? What are we gonna have from that? I
can't tell you everything, but I'll say this. Candace saying that was painful for me to hear, because we're growing. We've been damaged and we're working toward a better place. So I was like, what the hell? But I don't pay attention to rumors. I try not to repeat rumors unless it's a fact. Then I'll use it, girl. You know what I'm saying? I will work the hell out of it. But when it came out of Candace, I was very disappointed. But what I will tease and say is that there's a redeeming moment for Candace and I. And I'm so proud of what she did, because that's why we're in a better place. I think when we own our mess and our accusations that may not be true, but it can only make me respect you more and love you more. So stay tuned. I don't want to give away a lot, but that's a relationship to watch. I think the viewers will enjoy it.
Yeah. And Karen, I think one thing that I've always respected about you is that, like, I think you do, regardless of what's said or done or whatever, I feel like you do try to see how can there be a path forward for you and whichever one of the group. And I feel like you have that mentality in most situations, as I've seen over the years, I feel like. And can you explain that? Because I feel like that, or do you agree with that? Because I feel like that is sort of how you approach things.
With it. I agree with it. And I think some people might use that to their advantage or see that as a weakness in me. And it's not. Yeah. Because it's a selective choice to be a good human being. I mean, we're living in a lot of darkness right now. Hello, somebody got to be the light, and why not me? I'm just saying but I've always lived my life that way. So if it's not life-threatening, you cannot hurt me with a rumor. I don't even listen to rumors. I don't break a sweat, because I got a family to take care of. I got a business to run. I have so many things going on in my real life that, I have to be open to, and I got to laugh at some of the rumors, but the rumors keep me, very interesting. So thank you.
Keep you on your toes, I guess, it's like,
hey, look, and even though some of the rumors are recycled rumors, you got to listen. They got to do what they got to do to be relevant. Right. So it is what it is. We're on this platform.
And I'm wondering with Candace in particular, it seems like this season, she apparently Ashley gets a DM from Chris, and Gizelle brings up being uncomfortable around Chris. Clearly, like, her relationship gets put in the spotlight in a tough way this season. So I'm wondering if that kind of helps her own her words for you.
I'm glad you brought that up, and I believe so. I believe so. I can only say, watch Candace. She goes through a lot, and I don't like it. There's something about Candace for me that I'm always holding that redeeming factor, right, or just hoping that we'll be okay. But I don't like it when people gang up on her. Get up off of her. She's not 5'9". I am. Bring it to me. I can handle it. Okay. Just roll up off of her. I mean, I think it should be age appropriate, decade appropriate. How many decades have you been on this earth that how hard you come for somebody? Because if you haven't lived long enough to have the wisdom to pivot and handle this and give it back to you, leave people alone. This is very painful. Some of the things I see Candace go through. And so, yeah, I have to agree with you. It absolutely probably had that moment. She had that moment, and it helped move us forward. So thank you.
Totally. And so there's I think one of the little moments from the trailer that a lot of people are wondering about what leads to it is a glass is splashed in Wendy's direction from Mia, and you are right there in the middle, Karen.
Watch that very closely. Watch that footage very closely. I'm always on it. I am ready to pivot. I'm ready to engage. I was waiting for the bus. That just I was like, what? And I had on my Burberry designer dress, and I was like, oh my Lord, did liquor just fly past me?
The audacity. I mean,
but the timing was so awkward. I missed the drink, not just visually. I missed the drink.
So you weren't in the splash zone.
I wasn't in the splash zone at all. I was like on Pluto. I was like, what? What? I mean, what surprises me most this season is, you didn't ask this, so I'll just give it. What lengths some folk will go to have the camera spin their way or to have a moment. And what makes the OGs in this group is that we know not to do that. Because be real. What? Okay. But it was a cute toss. What am I supposed to say? I missed the toss. I missed the splash.
You missed the toss. So is that something generally that you do notice, Karen, that like, you know, we have the 4 OGs that have been around since the beginning, and then we've obviously had new additions over the years. Do you notice that there's a difference in approach to the show, maybe based on, you know, how much they've potentially watched of a franchise? Or
you run it's a very slippery slope.
Yeah.
You join RHOP and you plug into the OGs. I mean, we're beasts. Okay. So where are you going to fit in? And if there's no spot for you at the table, you're going to try and create one. But if you try, the secret is to just bring you, not to outshine or just be yourself, because you look silly.
Right.
I'm like, what the hell just happened? But
so
that's
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Karen, I'm picking up that you and Mia are maybe not going to have an easy season.
You know what? I disagree with you.
Okay.
I think that I was always, I brought Mia into this group.
You did, yeah, exactly.
And I saw Mia as a friend. So whatever happens, again, it will be me responding to the change or shift, if there is one. I'm just going to tease with that. But I am, I'm not going to sit around and willy-nilly if you're acting foolish, but I always wish Mia well, and there's no hatred there. But, if I need to handle you, I can handle you. Oh, I brought you in, I can take you out.
And again, another thing that I love about you guys is just that you, even on Twitter, it's like you guys are just so, I just love it. Like you do really good teases. You don't let anybody off the hook. Mm-mm. The thing about Gizelle's confessional look that went viral, what did you make of that whole reaction to that?
I thought it was a bit overkill. One thing, Candace and I were not lumped together on that.
Right.
I mean, social media is powerful. There was a personal moment where I was telling Jizzy her hair looked like Pepe Le Pew. And I knew my Pepe Le Pew moment was coming. So I was trying to set the table, if you will. Sure. And, I love social media. I respect whatever they do, but at the same time, don't lump it together. I stand alone. You're going to get a lot of juice out of that, because right after that, the bun that I put on the back of my head, 2 different colors, I was being like artistic with my hairdo. And somebody was like, you look like a skunk yourself. And I'm like, yes, skunk look is in for RHOP season 7. That's where I was going with that. It was not, so it just shows the power that the OGs have to move Twitter, Instagram.
I agree.
It's unbelievable.
I could talk about it for hours, because I just think that what you guys have been able to accomplish and the longevity of being on the show is just, it's incredible. I think the show gets better every year, in my opinion. You know what I mean? Like, do you feel the same, that it continues to build on itself?
It does. And I'm very humbled by the reception and the support and love we've had from the fans. And I just thank them every day, because without them, there would be no RHOP. They believed in us. They knew we had something, and they stayed around and supported it. And I'm just so grateful. So grateful.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And lastly, Karen, before I let you go, a couple of your castmates did Ultimate Girls Trip 3.
Yes.
You were not on that trip, but who would you kind of want to go on an Ultimate Girls Trip season with? Like, are there women that stick out to you on other franchises?
Well, I said this, and I love her husband more than I love her. I just like to sit at the table with he does a bot show. The doctor, the plastic surgeon.
Oh yeah, Dubrow. Heather,
Dubrow.
Yeah,
I'd like Heather to be at the dinner table with me, but then I want Drew from Atlanta. because Drew and I probably would just have everyone cracking up. She has a sense of humor. She's brilliant. I think us coupled together would be what it would take to get powerfully strong women on the ultimate girls trip through that. We would need laughter, and Drew and I would bring the comic.
Would you want a buddy from Potomac to come with you?
Absolutely not.
Karen stands on her own.
No, I'm kidding. I was just... No, I probably want to be on my own, honestly.
I think
because listen, my arms are wide, and I'll give you a teaser. The reason why I say absolutely not is, this season, when I talk about the girls doing whatever they want to do to get the camera to turn their way, you'll find that they're all connected to me. Okay. So my arms are wide enough, but girl, I need a moment. I can hug all y'all.
You're carrying too much.
But at the same time, I would like a fresh group. Yes, I'd like to try it on my own, probably. But if I had to take one.
Yes.
It would be, Candace has been, hold on, I gotta be fair. I like the new friend. I like Jacqueline.
Okay.
Rain Jacqueline. She's a sharp cookie and she's TV candy.
All right. I'm ready for that, Karen. I'm ready for them to send you to Thailand or Dorinda's house or somewhere.
Wherever they want to send me, I am open to it. It is a thing to do now. It's the thing.
It is. Well, Karen, the Grand Dame, I'm so happy to get some time with you. I'm so excited to see you at BravoCon. I'm excited for season 7 of Potomac. There's a lot happening in the world of Karen these days, and I wouldn't have it any other way.
Well, I'm glad to spend time with you. Looking forward. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. All right. Thank you, Karen.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for tuning in to We Should Talk. I hope you enjoyed the interview. You can find out more about In the Know at intheknow.com. You can follow me, Gibson Johns, at Gibsonoma on Twitter and Instagram. And you can listen to all of our interviews, past and future, by searching We Should Talk wherever you get your podcasts. Hope to see you next time.